main thread. So yesterday we have discussed in brief about what is multithreading, what do you mean by synchronization, what do you mean by context switching, message passing. Okay, all these concepts we have discussed in brief. Let us try to understand this main thread concept. So up till now, whatever programs we have written, we have not written any thread, we have not created any thread of our own. But when we run a Java program, one thread begins running immediately. So you can say that all your Java program contains at least one thread. This is called as the main thread. From where your program begins your execution. From that main thread, your program begins the execution. Now this main thread is important for two reasons. First one is, it is the thread from which other child threads will be spawned. Spawned means it is a thread from where all other child threads will be created. Just like that, say this is your main thread. Okay, assume this is your main thread. From here you start a child thread 1. From here you can start a child thread 2. From child thread you can start a thread 2.1. I mean from a child thread 2 you can again start a new subchild. From here you can again start a new subchild 2.2. So you can consider this main thread as a trunk of a tree, just like you have a tree here, right? This is the main trunk of a tree. From here one branch, second branch of a tree is there, then sub branch, then again the next branch. Just like you can assume these thread like this tree. So the main thread, this is your main trunk of a tree. So this is your main thread. From main thread you can have one more child thread, another child thread. From further that child thread you can create another child thread. Likewise you can have your thread structure. Okay, and often it must be the last thread. The second point is, it must be the last thread to finish execution, because it performs various shutdown actions. So suppose you have three threads. One is the main thread, another one, this is the child thread 1, this is the child thread 2. So often you want that this main thread to run, main thread to continue running, main thread to be in existence till 1 gets finished, till 2 gets finished. If this main thread gets finished here, automatically this first thread and second thread will also end. Say you have a tree here, and somebody wants to cut. Somebody is say need few branches. Okay, so if he cut this branch, it's okay, but still tree is there. If he cut this branch, tree is there. But suppose somebody cuts from here, all the advantages or all these branches will automatically get down. Okay, so often what you want, that child threads are there, so child threads to finish their execution, and after that your main thread to finish, so that in such a scenario we can say that it's a normal execution is there. Okay, so although this main thread is created automatically when your program is started, automatically this main thread gets created, it can be controlled through a thread object. You can see how this main thread is working. You can control this main thread. To control this main thread, you must obtain the reference of this main thread by this current thread method. There is a current thread method which is written in this thread class. So using this current thread method, you can obtain the reference of this main thread which was automatically created, and you can have certain set of functions on that thread. So the program here is, say you have written a class, a public static void main, a main function. So you know that whenever you write a Java program, one thread start executing automatically, the name of that thread is main. So from here that main thread comes into picture. Now here you want to to operate on this particular main thread, you want to say see the name of it, you want to change the name of it, or whatever functions which are provided in the thread class. Say you want to say see the demonstrate, you want to demonstrate those functions. Okay, so using this current thread method, you obtain the reference of a current thread in this reference variable t. And if you print this reference variable t, you will see it will get printed like this. It says main is the thread name, the current thread is there, the name of the current thread is main. The second parameter indicates the priority of the thread. By default, the priority of all the threads is 5. You can increase the priority, you can reduce the priority. Okay, and this is the group. Since only the main thread is there, so this is the only one group is there. So all threads belongs to this main group, from this main thread. All these are spawned from this main thread. So group is main, name is also main, and priority is 5. Let's say you want to change the thread name. So there is a function set name. You can use it with this reference variable t, and you can pass the argument as a new name that you want for your thread. After that, if you try to print it, you will see the thread name is changed. Thread name is now my thread, whereas priority and group remains the same. Suppose you want to say you have written a for loop here, for which runs from 5 to 1 greater than 0, and it prints the value 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and in between you want this particular loop to take a rest of say 1000 milliseconds. So it will print 5, it will wait for 1 second, then it will go for it will print next value, it will wait for 1 second. So sleep is a method which is available in the thread class. Okay, it temporarily suspends the activity of a thread for mentioned amount of time. So for this particular thread is idle, it is not doing any activity. Okay, so this is the program wherein you can see how we can take the reference of current thread, how we can print it, how you can use the set name function to change the name of a thread, how you can use the sleep function to temporarily suspend the thread, working of the thread. And this is the output. Now this is about the already existing thread, the main thread, which is automatically gets created. So in this program we have only one thread. Now let's see, in addition to this already created automatic thread, main thread, if user want to create a new thread, if user wants to have say thread his own user defined thread, then how user can create a thread? User can create a thread by either of these two methods. Either you can implement the runnable interface to create your own thread, or you can extend the thread class. So there are two ways in which you can create your own thread. One is either implementing the runnable interface, since interface needs to be implemented, and either you can extend the thread class. So thread is the super class. If you extend the thread class, you can create your own thread. So let's try to see these two examples, how these examples work. Okay, so first let's try to create a user thread with the help of runnable interface. So how to create a thread using runnable interface? To implement runnable, when you implement runnable interface, a class need only implement a single method called run method. So you need to implement a run method in your code. You need to write a run method in your code, public void run in your code. Inside run, you will define the code that constitutes the new thread. So inside run method, you need to write a run method in your code. In the run method, you will provide what do you want from that particular thread. for what purpose that particular thread you want to create. Okay, so that code you will write inside the run method. Now because this run method is a entry point for your thread. Run method is a entry point for your thread, and after a new thread is created, it will not start running until you call a start method. So normally how this works, you create a new thread, you give a call to start method. So what is the function of the start method? Start method will make your thread ready for execution. It will not start the execution. What is the task of this start method? Start function gives a call to run. Start function gives a call to run. It means start the thread. जैसे आप लोग गाड़ी यूज करते हैं, राइट, गियर वाली गाड़ियाँ होती है, तो आपने स्टार्ट कर दिया इसका मतलब गाड़ी चलना शुरू हो जाएगी, ऐसा नहीं है. स्टार्ट कर दिया, इग्निशन इज ऑन, इंजन इज रनिंग, योर व्हीकल इज रेडी टू रन. नाउ व्हेन यू वांट दैट व्हीकल टू रन, एक्चुअली आप उसमें गियर नंबर 1 शिफ्ट करेंगे एंड यू विल स्टार्ट एक्चुअली रनिंग योर व्हीकल, राइट. सो थ्रेड में भी ऐसे ही होता है. पहले आप थ्रेड क्रिएट करेंगे, थ्रेड क्रिएट करने के बाद आप बोलेंगे स्टार्ट द थ्रेड विल नॉट एक्चुअली स्टार्ट रनिंग दैट थ्रेड. It will ready your thread for implementation. It will ready your thread for running. Whenever that thread will get a chance to run, then this run method will get called, and whatever code you have written inside the run method will be executed. So let's try to see the program for this. So this is a very simple program in which we have created one thread. Let's try to understand. So you want to create a new thread. So you have created a class new thread. So instead of this class new thread, if you want to give any other name, the name of this class is your choice. Since we want to create a new thread using Runnable Interface, so implements Runnable. So class name implements Runnable Interface. Using Runnable Interface, we are creating a new thread. Let's create a reference variable of thread T, constructor for this class. Inside constructor, here we are creating a new thread. So T is equal to new thread, this comma demo thread. So demo thread is the name of your new thread. System.out.println child thread plus T. Here you will print whatever thread you have created, you will print the name of it, you will print the priority and the group it belongs. Then T.start the thread. Whatever thread you have created, you will start the thread. Start the thread means thread is ready to run. Whenever this thread will get a chance to execute, it will give a call to this run method. And what to do after this thread gets a chance? This is the code we have written here. So public void run method is there. Inside run, what we want, that this particular thread to run this for I is equal to 5, I greater than 0. So this loop should run for 5 times. Every time it will print the child thread and the value of I. And after printing this child thread should be suspended for this half second, 500 millisecond. So this is the logic. Every time this child thread will run, it will print the message child thread and along with the value of I. And this child thread will sleep for say 500 milliseconds. So this is activity that we want from this our thread, demo thread. And the main program. So class thread, the main program is there. Here we have created a new instance of class new thread that we have created. So it will give a call to the constructor, a new thread gets created and it will start. So how it works, see, this is your main thread. From main you have given a call to this from here you have given a call to this constructor and you have created a new thread, that is demo thread. So this is your main thread. From main thread you have created a demo thread. Okay. Now what this main thread wants, main thread का क्या काम है कि you run this for loop for 5 times, print the message main thread along with the value of I, and thread dot sleep for 1 second. So after printing one value, sleep for 1 second. The main thread is suspended for 1 second. So what is the logic here? Say you start executing this, when you start say execute this program, okay, it will start from here. Here you create a new thread. This new thread constructor gets called. Here you have created your thread, demo thread. You have started the new thread. So demo thread is now ready to run. Whenever it will get a chance, it will give a call to run method and it will start executing this for loop. The next line, for int I is equal to 5, main thread I is equal to 5. So you will see a message say main thread I 5. So main thread 5 message you will see on the screen. See, main thread 5 you will see on the screen. Now after that, the next line says thread dot sleep 1000. So main thread to be suspended for 1 second. So main thread is not doing any activity for the next 1 second. So this will search whether there are any threads, whether there is any thread which is ready to run for utilization of that 1 second, जिसमें ये thread कुछ भी काम नहीं करने वाला है. तो 1 सेकेंड के लिए, जिस समय ये थ्रेड स्लीप पीरियड में है, क्या 1 सेकेंड के लिए कोई और थ्रेड है जो काम कर सकता है? यस, वी हैव क्रिएटेड वन डेमो थ्रेड विच इज रेडी टू रन. तो ये 1 सेकेंड के लिए कंट्रोल इसको दे दिया जाए सो दैट ये 1 सेकेंड ये कुछ यहाँ से प्रिंट कर दे. सो फॉर द 1 सेकेंड, फॉर द नेक्स्ट 1 सेकेंड टिल दिस थ्रेड इज इन स्लीप पीरियड, दिस कंट्रोल विल कम हियर एंड चाइल्ड थ्रेड 5 will be printed, child thread 4 will be printed for the next 1 second, and this 5 will get printed and this thread will again sleep for 5, say half second. So child thread 5 will print, wait for half second, child thread 4 will print, wait for half second, and after printing this main thread wakes up. Okay, now give me my control. So this main thread resumes activity. So it has already printed 5. The next it will print 4. Say it will print 4. इसने 4 print कर दिया. So after printing 4, it again goes for thread dot sleep 1 second. फिर से 1 second के लिए sleep period में चला गया, temporary suspended. So for this 1 second, again the control comes here and this starts executing child thread 3, child thread 2. Again, after printing this 1 second of this 1 second gets over and this thread wakes up, give me my control back. So it will print 3. Again it will go for sleep 1 second. Again control will come here. For that 1 second it will try to execute this particular loop. Again this wakes up, the control goes here and it will work like this. Now the same thing. The same program that we have implemented using the Runnable interface, the same thing, the same program can also be can be written by extending the thread class. So these are two ways. Sometimes in exam explicitly it has been asked ki create a thread using Runnable interface, create a thread using the thread class, or what are the various ways in which you can create a thread and demonstrate both the ways using suitable example. So accordingly you have to write your answer. So this part is same, again this part is also same, only the difference is here. Okay, this is how you can create a new thread. Here extends thread. In your earlier program, what you have done, you have written class new thread implements Runnable. So in earlier program you were creating a thread using Runnable interface. An interface needs to be implemented. So class new thread implements Runnable. But here class new thread you wants to create a new thread using by extending a class thread. So new thread extends thread. Okay. Straight away write a thread, new thread constructor, give a call to super demo thread. So super demo thread will give a call to the constructor of the thread class, which internally takes care of initializing and creating and doing all this what you can say, the thread creation activity, creation of all the things will be taken care by the thread class. You can print the instance of a current thread. Simply write this, okay, and simply you give a call to start method. Okay, start the thread. So it means whatever thread is currently here, the current thread is start. Start means give a call to means make that thread ready to run. Whenever the thread gets a chance, this particular run method will be called, because this is the entry point for the thread. This is the entry point for the thread. So this is the only difference. Otherwise, the working wise it is same. You have two different methods, runnable and thread. Okay. Now see this program. Here we have created 3 threads. Along with the main thread, we have created 3 different threads. Now see how it works. Okay. Okay. So class name, new thread we have given. You can give any name of your choice. It implements runnable. So now hereafter you can create a thread using either runnable or you can use by thread class, whichever you find it suitable. So you have created one string variable, you have created one reference variable of type thread. Okay. Constructor, you have created a constructor new thread which accepts a thread name, which accepts a string parameter from user like this 1 2 3. Okay, and it initializes the thread name to this particular name variable. Here we will initialize it. Okay, we create a new thread. T is equal to new thread, this comma name, whatever name we have supplied. You will print the new thread, that is the name of the new thread, the priority of the new thread, the group which it belongs, and you start the new thread. You have started the new thread. So whenever this thread gets a chance, it will start executing. Again, this public void run method is there. It will run for 5 number of times. It will print the name of the thread and the value, and it will sleep for 1 second. Okay, this is your main program. Main thread, main class, main function. So here you have created three threads. New thread 1. So this line will give a call to this constructor. The thread name is 1. You have given 1 as a parameter. So T is equal to new thread 1. You have created a new thread. You have started the new thread, and you have created a new thread of name 1, जिसका नाम 1 है, and you have started 1. So from here main thread you have created one thread 1, and which is in ready state now. Which whenever this thread 1 will get a chance, it will perform this activity. In the next line you have created a thread 2. So again the same constructor gets called. Now the parameter is 2. T is equal to new thread 2. You have created a new thread 2. You have done T dot start. So your second thread, that is 2, is started. So whenever this thread will get a chance, it will execute this thing 5 4 3 2 1 for thread 2. You have created a thread 3. This constructor will get called. T is equal to new thread this comma 3. Okay, and T dot start. So you have created a third thread. You have started it. Third thread is ready to run. Whenever this will get a chance, third thread will print 5 4 3 2 1 for third thread. So now you have thread 3. You have created and started 3 threads. So all these 3 threads are in ready state. Whenever these 3 threads will get a chance, these 3 threads will start execution. Okay. Now after this line, thread dot sleep for 10,000. Thread dot sleep for 10,000 milliseconds, 10 seconds. Okay, here what you said, suspend the main thread for 10 seconds. Suspend the main thread for 10 seconds. So here main thread is suspended for 10 seconds. Now system will remain idle for 10 seconds if you do not have anything to perform. But here in this case you have 3 threads, thread 1, thread 2, thread 3, all are in running state, all are in ready state, all are in ready state, ready to run. Now either of these 3 thread, 1 thread, 2 thread or 3 thread, either of these 3 thread will get a chance for execution. It will print int 5 I greater than 0. So suppose first thread get a chance. So first thread, 1 thread will print 5. Now 1 thread got a chance to print, and it will print the value, and it will say sleep the first thread for say 1 second of time. For 1 second it will sleep. Now system is again idle. So this thread and this thread are ready to run. So second thread will get a chance to execute. It will print 5. Again the second thread will go to sleep. Now still the third thread is alive. So this third thread will get a chance. It will print. By the time all these threads print, if main wakes up, then main get a chance. Otherwise these 3 threads will automatically get a chance in shuffling manner. Their execution will be shuffled in such a way that first thread will print 5 4 3 2 1, second thread will print 5 4 3 2 1, third thread will print 5 4 3 2 1, and after that this 10,000 millisecond time we have given very meticulously, because we know that if all the threads completes their execution, the execution of all the threads will be over before this 10 second. That's why we have given 10 second. Manually we have given 10 second sleep, because we know that the execution of this first thread, second thread and third thread will get over before 10 seconds. Okay, see the output. So first you have created one thread number 1, the priority is 5 and it is created inside main. The second thread, priority is 5, it is created inside main. Third thread, priority is 5, created inside main. So first thread will print 5, second thread 5, third thread 5. Again the sequence will differ. Every time you run the program, the sequence will differ. 1 2 3 3 2 1 3 1 2 2 1 2, something like that. The first thread will complete execution, the second thread has completed execution, the third thread has completed execution, and then in the last your main thread has completed execution. Let's try to see the output. Okay, see 1 3 2 1 3 2 1 3 2 1 3 2 1 3 2. First one has exited, third one has exited, and second one has exited, and then the main thread exit. Okay, let's try to run it again. Let's see if we see a different output. Now it says, see second thread has started, then third thread has started, then the first thread has started. Let's try to run again to see if we get a different output. Now here the third thread has started first. So intermittently it will change. I mean, whichever thread gets a chance, they will try to utilize that free amount of time. All the threads will exit. It will wait for main thread to exit. It's taking a long time. Now main thread has exited and the program is over. See, now here there are two functions, isAlive function and a join function. In the previous function, in the previous code, we have used this what you can say, this 10,000 sleep time. Here we have chosen very meticulously, because we wanted to ensure that the execution of thread 1, thread 2, thread 3 to get over before this time. Okay, so there is a smart way of doing this. So there is a isAlive function. So isAlive function returns true if the thread upon which you have called this isAlive function is still running. If the thread 1 is running, this isAlive function will give you true. It means it's an indication that thread 1 is running, do not terminate, do not terminate, or do not terminate. So if the thread has completed running, it returns false otherwise. Okay, so this is isAlive function. And there is another join function. So join function tells to wait for a thread to finish is called a join function. To wait for a thread to finish. से अगर मैं कहता हूँ first thread dot join, it means wait for the first thread to finish. Second thread dot join, wait for the second thread to finish. Third thread to join, third thread dot join, wait for the third thread to finish. So whenever these three threads will finish their execution, then only the control is allowed to move further. So these are two methods like isAlive and a join, using which you can check whether the thread is running or not, and the second one, join, tells you to wait for that particular thread to finish the execution, then only move ahead. So this is the difference between these two methods, and both these two methods helps you to control how much time, to know whether the thread is in running state or the thread has completed execution. And the second method tells you to wait for the thread to finish the activity. Okay, now here in the earlier program, this is the same program that we have seen. Now we have created three threads. Okay, so instead of writing that thread dot sleep for 10,000 second, instead of writing thread dot sleep 10,000 millisecond, what we have written, we have checked the thread status, thread 1 status, thread 2 status, and thread 3 status. So if thread 1 is alive or not, thread 2 is alive or not, thread 3 is alive or not. So this will print either thread 1 is alive, thread 2 is alive, thread 3 is alive. At this point, all the three threads are alive. So this will print true, because isAlive function returns true if the threads are running, isAlive function returns false otherwise. If the thread is not running, it will print false. So we have started thread 1, we have started thread 2, we have started thread 3. Okay, so at this point, these three threads are alive. After that, we will say wait for thread 1 to finish, wait for thread 2 to finish, wait for thread 3 to finish. Once all the three threads finish their execution, then only you come here and print the main thread is exiting. And here if you check the status of thread 1, thread 2, thread 3, since the control has come from here, it means the thread 1 is already over, thread 2 is already over, thread 3 is already over. So here you will see the status as false. So first the status of all the three threads were true. Now we were waiting for the thread to finish. Here we were waiting for the thread to finish. Wait for 1 to finish, wait for 2 to finish, wait for 3 to finish. By the time first thread, second thread, and third thread will print their whatever they want to print. Okay, then here we will check whether this one is false, this one is false, this one is false, and here we have printed the main thread has terminated. Okay, so instead of using thread.sleep 10,000, you can use these methods. Like this isAlive will tell you whether the thread 1 is alive or not, thread 2 is alive or not. The running state of the thread can be fetched from isAlive method, and this join method helps you to wait. Do not go for here, do not go here, do not give control to main thread until thread 1, thread 2, and thread 3 finishes their execution. So once these three threads finishes their execution, give a control to main thread. Then again you check whether it is alive or not. You will see it is false, and here your main thread will print the main thread is exiting. So this is how you can use isAlive function, and this is how you can use